All right, it's another episode of the RSL Random Fan Podcast. I'm a host, Brandt Goebel, joined by...
Tyler Thomas. How's it going tonight, Brandt?
Not too bad. We're going to have to control ourselves. Brendan's not here to keep us in check.
Man.
He's got work tonight. So we're going to have to probably work on not talking and talking and talking and talking and talking.
Yeah, last time you and I did one by ourselves, we went way too long. But hey, you know what? The fans listen to it, so bringing it on. No, it's not going to be too long. But there is a lot to
he's
cover.
A great addition.
So
Love having
you want to get at it with the starting lineup with the LA
well, let's get started
Galaxy
with the starting lineup. Real Salt Lake went over to the left coast to play the new look LA Galaxy so far this season. But we had Zach McMath in goal, Alex Catranis, Philip Quinton, the new guy, who is at least 7'8", Justin Glad, Bodie Hidalgo, and then in the middle we have the stalwarts of the season so far, Brian Ojeda, Emeka Anelli. They have a C there. I forget his name is extra long. Diego Luna, Matt Crooks back, Andres Gomez, and up top, where he belongs, Chicho Arango. And on the bench, we had Gavin Beavers, Andrew Brody, Michael Chang, Anderson Julio, Bertine Jacqueson makes another appearance, Fidel Barajas, Nelson Palacio, and Derek Silva.
Nice. Pretty strong lineup.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? And then any thoughts on the LA lineup, Tyler?
Well, Vera didn't start. That's concerning, and he wasn't on the bench, so
he
that's
was
two
suspended.
concernings for me. Right, but would he have started?
I don't know. Start him. He was suspended.
Hopefully he just needs a good rest, and he'll be right back. Get it? Because he's a left back. Bad joke.
Oh,
sorry.
Right.
But interesting on the LA side because they brought back Riqui. Don't call me Puig.
Puig.
And that guy is really good. You know, you got to admire his work rate. That kid never stops running. And I call him a kid because of his body shape and type. He's just always moving. I'm sure he can't put on weight. No, that kind of mentality. Just always running. He's everywhere, right? And then Brigwin kind of sits in behind him, and he's pretty good destroyer that way. And Marky Delgado's a little bit that way too. But then up top, it's all attack. That Painso guy, he kept getting into dangerous positions. Joveljic is kind of a beast in the middle, and Gabriel Peck was up and down his side, trying to cover Catranis too, tracking back here and there, but pretty tough team in LA. I mean, it's no slouch. That's probably their best 11. There's a couple guys that were on their bench that normally start, but not a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, Riqui Puig is one of my favorite players in Major League Soccer.
There's fun to watch.
There's not a lot of players that I would like to see on RSL, but there's just something about him. I think he would probably be a great fit no matter where he goes. I really like him. So on our starting lineup, it was 7 changes from the New Mexico debacle, and we can talk about that maybe at halftime, the game in the U.S. Open Cup. But I did like seeing Crooks back in the middle. We still have a super long way to go with him, looks like. Is there any thoughts on that? We could talk about the lineup before we get into the first half.
Yeah, with Crooks, I think we're definitely not connecting like we should with him, right? Like, just kind of watching as the game played out. When we're holding the ball, some people like to hold the ball, like Luna, Gomez. They want the ball, but they also want to do the little give and goes, but they just want to be the give and goer. They don't want to give and go and give and go, right? Then you never know who's making the run. It's a little more guesswork by the defense, which is what Crooks is kind of used to. But Gomez is like, I'm going to pull you in. I'm going to kick it to the middle, run by you, and hopefully you get it back to me. But if somebody comes over, I got nothing, right? He's kind of one-dimensional that way.
Yeah, I think I was noticing I might start keeping track. But I noticed at least 3 or 4 times in the first half where Crooks has the ball. He passes it back. He's up on the front line, passes it back to a midfielder, and then he's waiting for the pass to come back to him because as he's passed the ball back to the RSL, his teammate, the defenders have kind of moved with the ball and left space behind them that Crooks is wide open. I think that's what he wants them to do is when he passes the ball, don't just immediately look to go backwards, go left, go right, but take a look at where the space is and give him the ball back. Once he's passed it back to them and they return the favor, the defenders, right, have sucked in closer to, let's say, Luna or Gomez, and if they pass it back to Crooks and take off, they now have an advantage on the defender, right? They can get away from the defender. So I really don't know if they are going to figure it out, but they certainly haven't. But I thought Crooks, I noticed he was always all over the place. He makes runs that haven't been rewarded. He makes runs that have helped on goals. And he seems to be coming back on defense. But he does play a little bit of that more, he's not messy, but kind of Messi-esque, where he does let the game come to him and kind of does a lot more observing to see where he needs to be.
I think he's kind of that take what comes and a little more cerebral instead of like Gomez and maybe to some degree Luna kind of have this like I'm going to get down the wing idea, right? Not as much probably with Luna, but Luna likes to hold the ball and create with his feet, where Crooks is like give, go, I'll hold up. If you're making a run, I'll play it where you're going. You know what I mean? And it's not quite there yet still. I think we'll be rewarded for having him very soon, but not quite clicking all the way yet with those 4.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will happen, but there's a good chance it won't. So I'm sure everybody is paying attention to what is going on there.
Yeah, and we're all trying to be patient with it because that's part of any process is incremental growth, right? So you just want to see a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and if it's there, awesome. And if not, like, well, what do you do, right? You got to move on at some point. But this few games in, not time to move on yet. No. Patience, young fan base.
You keep breaking up.
Yeah, that's my one Star Wars reference of the night. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. So I love seeing Narango up top. What's that?
Yeah. No, I mean, it started off with like a bunch of chances, right? LA was coming at us pretty hard, and we were going at them kind of hard. But like the first 4 or 5 chances of the night were definitely them. And Riqui was like on his horse, man. He was popping up, flying up and down. And I think his team has a hard time keeping up with him, honestly. Right? It's hard keeping up with Riqui.
Like you keep breaking up.
It's hard for me to keep up with Riqui.
No, I said you keep breaking up.
But remember, the recording's just gonna be good, so don't worry about it.
All right. So other players that we're glad to see back, but Gomez and Luna, I thought they played well, and the midfield. But yeah, to your point, LA Galaxy, they really put a ton of pressure on RSL to begin the game. They had 4 corners by the 17th minute, and they had McMath standing on his head. He had three great saves, one-on-one with a player with the ball in the first 15 minutes, and he had a great save on their 4th corner kick in the 17th minute.
Is that the one where he saved it with his behind?
No, like I think it was the one where he punched it out, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was very active in the first half. Really kept us in the game, right?
Yeah, he was standing on his head.
Yeah, I don't know if Beavers makes half of those saves.
No, I think I have a great deal of love for McMath at the moment. I think he's earned his starting spot, and he did have. We'll get to it in the second half, but I do think that he's playing the best soccer he's played for us, and right now, and he was the reason that we weren't down 4 goals in the first half.
And you can't have it both ways, right? You get it one way or you get it the other. And yeah, I think he kept us in this game for sure. Because it was like Riqui Puig comes down the middle, plays it out to the right, and somebody has a shot, and then Riqui comes back to the middle, and he's hard to run with, and then Painsil has a wide open shot, and Katranis blocks it, but also McMath was there, and then Glad gives it away in the 12th minute, and Gil plays it to Riqui, who's just so good, and Jovic plays it to Painsil, who McMath just runs and dives and covers it. You know what I mean? So like, it really was, Zach standing on his head. He did really well, considering the space that was there between Glad and Quentin. I mean, they haven't played together a lot, so for that being the center back pairing, it was okay. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible. They gave up some chances, but in the end, probably way too many to really come together. And the other thing I saw a lot, Brandt, was the midfielders kind of kept running into each other. Pablo said that to us in the last press conference. He said, we kind of get in each other's way sometimes. We got to find ways around that.
Yeah, maybe players, doesn't it happen a lot when players aren't necessarily trusting their fellow teammates to be where they need to be? So they feel like they need to cover more ground instead of just focusing on where they need to be and let the chips fall where they may, because as we'll see, it kind of can make a mess when players are all over each other. The one word that kept popping to my head watching this game, and this was for both teams, was sloppy. This game felt really sloppy to me. Maybe it's because obviously because of all the missed opportunities on both sides, but it didn't feel like everybody was crisp. I don't think LA had a US Open Cup game, and RSL looked brighter to start the game, or brighter through much of the game than LA did. LA looked like they were tired and wore out midway through the first half.
Yeah, that was interesting the way that worked, and we'll talk about it in the second half. And I think we played a lot better in the second half, honestly. But man, wave after wave coming at us. Like on the play where Bodie kind of ran into Delgado, and it wasn't anything Delgado did. It wasn't a cheap shot or anything, but he was trying to be physical, and he kind of pulled up lame in the 14th minute. But then Riqui like recycled it, and like he played it into the box, and Katranis heads it right to the other team. You know what I mean? Like right to the top of the box, right to the center of the field. And you're talking about you're sloppy, right? Like there were so many of those in this game where we just would like give it away so cheaply. And you know me, Brandt, I hate giving it away, but I really hate giving it away when there's no pressure on us at all. There's no reason to give the ball away. If you don't have to make a pass, don't make a bad pass. Right? That just got me, and my blood was kind of boiling as we were approaching the 20th minute. I was like, how are we not behind by 3 at this point?
Yeah, Glad had a terrible pass right to one of the LA players up top, and it turned into a McMath save, if I remember right. So the first 20 minutes, it was all LA Galaxy, all one-way traffic, and then almost literally out of nothing, we get our first goal, right?
Yeah, yeah, and wasn't that something? You know, we had a couple of runs forward before that, but as it came through, it was pretty awesome to see, you know, uh, oh yeah, sorry, before that there was another corner where Glad, headed it on frame. So to avoid an own goal, McMath had to make the save, right? You forgot that one.
Oh
And then
yeah.
he kicked it with his behind. Yeah, that was a cool double save, but I don't know if he got credit for both of those, but he should have. Anyway, so in the 18th minute, 18 and a half-ish minute, we kind of got a little thing going. Brody, who, came on for Bodie, who came out injured, switched the point of attack. We played it through both of our center defenders, central defenders, whatever. Ojeda and Nelly. The midfield menace, as I like to call them. We need to come up with a better term, though, so maybe we should have a contest. Whoever comes up with the best pairing name for those two.
Yeah.
Right? Ojeda and Nelly. No, smash their names together or something cool. Anyway, if somebody comes up with an awesome name, Brandt has a hat for you.
Omeda. The Omeda man. The Omeda man.
If you can come up with something better, though, you got to send it in. Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Twitter's not Twitter. It's X. I know, whatever. You know what I mean. Instagram, if you can get around to that. But no, so both those guys hit it out wide to Catranas, who, for some reason, was open because Painsil did not want to come back and defend him on that left side. So ball gets switched out wide to Catranas. Painsil kind of jogs over. And Catranas, he has been money for us. He has been money with his crosses, with getting into the box, with being super active on the offensive end. And he plays a ball. He just kind of like, go up and get it, Chicho. It's like in the NFL when they drop back and they just like, my receiver is better than your defender, and they lob it up there, and the big tall receiver goes up and catches it, right? And that's what happened here. Yoshida was in a good position, but Chicho just attacks it so well. Like if you paused it right as he hit the cross, you would think there's no way they score on this, right? Yoshida's in front. He's a head taller. They're not going to score on this play.
If you pause it right when he goes to make the pass, there are two LA Galaxy players that aren't doing anything other than watching him. They're like at least 5 feet away, 10 feet away, and they make no effort to put pressure on Catranas. That might start to change as the season goes along and people realize that Catranas is really dangerous for us.
Yeah, I get why you might not. Yeah, I get why you might not pressure Bodie, Andrew Brody. He's out there. He doesn't have a great cross. He's good.
You want Andrew Brody to have the ball out there.
Yeah, you want him to lob a cross into the box. Because like Brennan says, it's not a driven ball.
Well, right? I think Brody had a left-footed shot that was absolutely atrocious in the first half that missed. I don't know if you saw that one. He sent it out the opposite side of Catranas, about that same spot, and it was nowhere near. It just flew right out of bounds. So, yeah. So we go up.
Yeah, it makes me think we might go. Anyway, sorry. So the ball goes up to Chicho, lobbed in. He attacks it just so much better. He goes and gets it, which is always what wins. The person that attacks the ball the hardest almost always wins it. And he gets his head on it, and McCarthy's on his, he's 2 yards off the line, so he's not in a bad spot. But Chicho just kicks it past him, right? Like, he's just nails. He's so solid for us, Brandt. We'll get to his stats here after we talk about the second goal. But, man, this kid can just score. He kicks the ball in. He's good. He's effective. Not a lot of chances, couple goals.
Yeah, I absolutely love what he's bringing to Real Salt Lake. And long may it continue. He has been incredibly dangerous. And I thought after we went up, I thought LA the goal kind of sucked a little bit of life out of them as the first half drug on. I don't know if it's the heat or maybe I don't know what, but they didn't seem like they were a lot of urgency, just kind of playing maybe.
Step, right?
So, anyway.
Yeah, and Chicho, I mean, after that, and just he's so good in the air for how short he is. You know what I mean? He's got some good ups, but Yoshida kind of had to go back to get it, and then he didn't attack. Usually that's what you want to do. Kids at home, if you're watching, you always attack. You always attack, right? Attack that ball. Try to be the first one to it. Try to get in front of the other kid. Get your head in there. Get your foot in there. Just knock that ball. Anyway, yeah, after that, we kind of stepped it up, and they kind of backed off. But, Riqui had, 2 or 3 more really good runs right down the middle.
Yeah, and, it was the 30th minute that we had a turnover, and Gomez, I think,
Chicho and Gomez were in with only Yoshida back.
And I think Gomez that took the shot pretty when he had somebody.
No, he didn't have somebody. Yoshida closed off the angle, but he went for that left-footed curler into the back post right around the 29th minute. And McCarthy, just great save, dude. That was a great save. That really was. Props to McCarthy. You can tell that guy won an MLS Cup before, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Chicho with the steal, got it to Gomez, and he tried to curl it around with his left foot, like you said. I don't know if the shot, he could have drug it to his right and maybe got a harder shot off, but it was a great save.
Yeah, one with the keeper, you probably want to do better than that. You know? I don't know. Gomez is like this awesome enigma, you know? He gets these awesome opportunities. He doesn't have to finish them all because he creates a lot. So I get it. He's more quantity, and Chicho's the quality. And hopefully together they'll, make some great stuff happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and as we've noticed across the interwebs, the internet, Chicho Arango is getting a ton of love for early MVP voting. They're always pointing out how he is right there with the top goal scorers in the league, Benteke and Messi. And I think there's some.
Who's that last one? Messi, did you say?
Labardo? Something like that. Leobardo.
Leonardo Messi. Oh, I heard of
Leonard?
that guy. Yeah.
Leonard
gets messy. All right. So, enough making fun of the best player in the world,
Yeah.
No, he's doing awesome, and he's fun to watch too. I love to watch the highlights from Miami from the week, but it's fun. Anyway, Chicho played great. I think Gomez played pretty well, and I'm still waiting for Luna. It's almost like he just can't get that last touch. Around the 36th minute, he had a great chance, and he lined it up for his left foot and just drug it wide past the post. You know what I mean? Just every time there's something he could do to be amazing and great, he just kind of misses it. And I don't know what's up with him. It's something in his head. He got that 4th goal against Chicago. We kind of thought, hey, this is it. This is him turning the corner. And then pretty disappointing performance here with LA.
Yeah. I think maybe it goes back to the same issue we're talking about with Crooks, right? It's a little bit of trying to be a little more sophisticated. It's probably not the best word. A little more polished, maybe. There's just something that's just a hair skosh off sometimes with the RSL attack and approach. At other times they look like they don't get in the groove as much as I would hope they would.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, every game is different. Every team is going to approach how you play different, how they're going to defend you. But if they're going to lay off, it seemed like LA was kind of laying off and just kind of collecting themselves, trying not to create too many mistakes and let RSL counter. And so yeah, I think there's just something off with Crooks and Luna. We haven't found that sweet spot yet.
No, but hopefully we do. And the nice part about that is, like, we're still doing really well. We're still sitting in a really good spot for how interesting we've started the season. We've been getting great results, and Chicho's still scoring goals. So hard to complain, right, with the results we've been getting. But we'll get to the other concerns at halftime here, right?
Yeah, let's talk about the second goal real quick, and then we can get to halftime. Because the second goal was RSL building up pressure and passing the ball around. By this time in the second half, I think I was noticing that LA was just kind of...
You mean first half?
Going in the first half, they were just kind of complacent. That's kind of when I noticed that they were like not tuned out, or if they were just kind of conserving energy. I don't know. But RSL was passing it around. Did I just lose my spot?
Well, and I thought it was interesting that Ade came out. I don't know if how you say that guy's name. Aude, Aude. Their number 3 left back. You kind of have to be interesting with Gomez. You kind of have to be off of him because he's so quick. But you kind of have to get to him because he's pretty good on the ball. And he drew him in, played it to Crooks, and Crooks is like, okay, I know what you want, so I'm going to give you the ball into some sweet space. And that's exactly what he did. And then he charged into the box, and he had a couple choices. He went early, which is good because Gomez usually waits too long. But he went early, and it looked like Luna. He was aiming for Luna, and I don't know if Chicho called him off or what, but Luna kind of faked, and it kept McCarthy on the near post. So by the time it got to Chicho, he wasn't anywhere near the back post. So Chicho really didn't have to do all that much. He passed it into an almost wide open goal by that point. And I think a lot of it was because of the Luna kind of feign in there where he kind of forced McCarthy to stay front post. Because if Luna would have hit it near post, because that's the angle he had, that's probably where he hits it. But and that's where McCarthy was hanging out, near post. But it opened things up for Chicho quite a bit there, didn't it?
And it goes back to also the opportunities that we're missing with Crooks, right? Crooks is right there in space. He finds good spots. Gomez, instead of taking a couple touches it right to Crooks. Gomez takes off. Crooks has a beautifully weighted pass to Gomez. And just like you said, he's going to the line. Luna's crashing the box, taking up 2 defenders, and he lets it go right to Chicho, who puts it in. So we're up 2-0, and I'm like, what the heck is going on?
We are not playing well. That's like the worst we've played to be up 2-0, right?
Yeah, and I just kind of laugh every time because honestly, I didn't think that RSL was going to win this game. I was really concerned coming in off of New Mexico, that game, that there was going to be a drop in confidence. But they went up 2-0, and then almost immediately after, Chicho's shot a minute or so later, that's the one where he went long, and he probably might have had better options on the outside with Gomez, or the other side with Catranis or Luna or whoever was over there.
Yeah, Crooks made a run. Crooks run into this is my favorite part of the game. He kind of just kneed the guy in the leg and then took the ball, and the ref was like, play on? I don't know, whatever. So I was like, the ref was in a really bad spot to see that foul. But it ended up, probably would have been called back. But Chicho shot from outside the box with a 4-on-3, basically. Which normally he doesn't do unless he really sees something. So, you got to give him that. But Crooks made a run after he gave it to Chicho. He just made this great run, and he didn't give it back to him. And I was like, oh, dude. Reward the tree. It's hard for ants to move that far.
Yeah, I don't know that we do a lot of that. Even historically, there's been a lot of time. And you have to understand, you're going to make, most of your runs aren't going to be rewarded, right?
Right.
So you still have to make the runs, but they could up the amount of times they reward Crooks, because I don't know if they've ever done it. They don't do it very often.
No, he should have had a couple tap-ins so far this season, and even once the shot was blocked, because that shot from Chicho was blocked, it was still 4-on-3. It popped out to Gomez. There was still 4-on-3, and by then Crooks was offside, but so he was the only one who wasn't a good pass at that point. But the other two guys were behind Gomez, and he just wasn't ever going to see him. He doesn't have that kind of vision, So
Not yet, anyway.
no, not in the back of his head.
We kept up the pressure, and it did go. We go into halftime, 2-0 over the LA Galaxy. Surprisingly, up 2-0. I would think.
Yeah, you ready to play your halftime ditty?
Doobie boop bop 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 doobie bop bop. Wow.
I love the wow. My favorite.
Wow. Halftime is a question mark. If we'll get into halftime. So
that's great. No, good stuff. So halftime. First off, I mean, couple things right away. We're not playing well, right? And we're scrambling on defense. We're doing a ton of diving in defense where you're just throwing yourself in the way and hoping your body blocks the shot. I think we had 7 of those in the first half. And I was like, man, we can't do this last-ditch defending stuff. That, for me, was one of the biggest concerns. But the game was pretty wide open. And in the end, the first half obviously played out well. But the gameplay, and the combinations, a little rough, Brandt. Up front, weird communication stuff. In the back, not great communication either. Crisscrossing paths. We didn't run into each other. Thank you. Thank heavens for that. But wow, a lot of concerns from the gameplay. And while we're on it, might as well talk about the New Mexico United game, right?
Yeah,
they did not look good in that either. We kept letting them shoot from outside, and they kept hitting them. So we ended up losing. Pretty bad.
It's interesting.
4 goals from distance.
Yeah, and I think McMath saved some of those. Like I said, I'm a huge McMath fan. I get why they're going to try and get Beavers in there, but more often than not, Beavers kind of has some howlers when he gets in there, giving up 4 to a good New Mexico side. I mean, let's give them credit. They came in ready to play, but I think there's a question on RSL's depth. RSL's second team should be able to compete with, maybe not dominate, but RSL has no business losing to New Mexico United or any USL club. I don't think. If they had the lineup that I think everybody thinks they have. But I think once you get past the 11 or 12 players, those other ones that are coming up aren't currently MLS quality or MLS
I think
Cup
we have a couple positions where we're 3 deep, 4 deep, on a good day, right? And that's when there's a pairing, right? Like center defensive mid. I think we have 3 guys that are MLS ready. But man, half of them didn't work. You know what I mean? It was rough. So and go ahead.
Yeah, what are we gonna do if Chicho gets injured? We're running into a slew of injuries. Bonilla was a rookie; he's out for the year. Ruiz out for the season, and we were really counting on him. So between Ojeda and Anelli, who's the backup there? We have seen that when Anelli and Ojeda are out, there's a huge drop-off. Silva is out. We were expecting him to be some solid senior
center back,
senior play. He's out. Holt's out, and Holt is never going to be Major League Soccer starting quality. I'm just
Some
sorry.
people think he's never going to be made. Yeah, I think he was close, but it's too bad the most recent injury took him out.
And then you got Oviedo, who's you would love to have him, 5 years ago, but you probably couldn't afford him 5 years ago. He's getting older.
Right.
He's hitting the injury bug. And then Crooks was struggling with an oblique injury, and then you got Vera, who was suspended. So after, like, we need a third center back. Is Philip Quinton going to be that? He looked like it might be a possibility against LA Galaxy, and it definitely didn't look like he was ready against New Mexico. But he does look. He has size, which I like, and he has presence, and he's very vocal. He looks like he's back there trying to organize, and
Yeah.
I think they think there's a little meat on the bone there. So, but I
Yeah,
do
I'd like
think
to
once
know
we
about
get
him
past
too.
our starters, what are we going to do if Chicho gets injured? 18 of the 20 goals scored by RSL, Chicho has played a role in, assist or goal.
Well, I think what we were thinking was, okay, we've got Anderson Julio, and he can score. He'll get one every 2 or 3 games, and he's done almost nothing. So he really hasn't had a very good season at all this year. And Chicho's been gobbling up everything that we've been feeding him. And so they're like, okay, well, who's next, right? And we're like, how about this Gozo kid? Straight out of the hood, awesome kid from all accounts, from what I've heard. A Utah kid. Everybody get behind him, right? And then he gets now he's in concussion protocol from the New Mexico game. Is that right, Brent?
I think so. They were mentioned it during the game that I didn't catch all of the New Mexico game. And then I was going to go watch it again, but then I thought I caught the end of it.
The guy cracked him in the head, man.
And then he ended up.
I honestly thought it was a cheap shot, and he should have been yellow carded at least.
Or
because he
red
came
carded.
in and boom, and he did not win the ball. Gozo won the ball, and the guy just came in late and headbutted him in the back of the head.
Yeah,
it
was a concussion.
Yellow? Yeah, that was weird.
He was over there, getting rid of his lunch on the sideline. So yeah, he's probably Gozo's probably got a minute before he'll be back. But he's young.
And then
he'll recover.
It's Dickinson, right? Is that guy gonna develop? What about Elijah Paul? He's down there somewhere. Somebody's got to step up and be that second, third guy,
Yeah,
or we could bring in somebody. What? Hey, ownership's writing checks, huh?
Yeah, I think we'll have to see how it goes when the secondary transfer window starts. I think it's July 28th or July 18th, somewhere in there, end of July. It opens up for a couple of weeks, and depending on where we're at, we probably wouldn't hurt to bring in someone. They need to do something, and you don't have to do anything panic wise, but I do have concern that as the injury bug builds up and teams maybe figure out what we are doing. So far, so good. We're in first place, knock on wood. But I am kind of concerned that you saw the New Mexico game, you saw the late LA. I think if RSL goes in there and gets the victory against LA Galaxy, I think the headspace is for fans and for the team is a lot different than what happened. So I think there's some room for concern, especially if you are overly concerned like I am at times.
Well, and the other thing that worries me, Brant, is we have not played great in the last 4 or 5 games, right? There was some times when we were really hitting it. We were coming along great. I think we were, really playing well. But the last few games, the New Mexico game, we're sloppy. All right, we're going to blame it on the baseball field. It was the baseball field.
Oh, that is atrocious.
Right, that was nasty. But okay, fine. It was nasty, but Oh, and it was a baseball field, but it was still pretty bad. Like, we were missing wide open passes, like back passes with no pressure on us. We were missing those passes. You know what I mean? So, man, watching that, I was like, we don't deserve to go through. And they kept hitting those distance things, and hopefully that's not an Achilles heel for Beavers, is missing those long distance shots, because I think we kind of figured out that guy can't stop long distance shots in that game. There were 4 shots outside the 18, all of them scored. And I don't know if that's a Beavers thing. Even the announcers were like, hopefully this isn't something that is recurring for this kid, and hopefully it's not. Hopefully he can get to that point, but he gave up a couple in the previous games and he's only had 1 shutout. And so again, yeah, we're having a great season. Yes, we're killing it. Yes, we're getting great results, but we're a little worried about how we've been playing, because our string of results has been like, even against Chicago, we didn't play great in the first half, but we won 4-0. So it's hard to look at that and say, well, And then we went to Philadelphia and we beat them at home, which was awesome, but we didn't really play that well. They played better than we did. So
and then if to play devil's advocate there, you can say we haven't played well, or we've just been grinding victories or results, minus the New Mexico game, because in Major League Soccer play, we've had a draw and a win and a win and a win and a draw and a draw. We haven't lost since when? We haven't lost since Colorado?
Yeah, stupid Colorado. We're going to get them back.
We lost to Colorado, then we beat Vancouver, we beat St. Louis, we drew Minnesota, we tied Columbus.
Again,
we beat Chicago.
Yeah.
And beat Philly.
We beat Kansas City, right? Kansas City was in there too. We didn't play great. Yeah. We didn't finish great, but I think we outplayed Kansas City by quite a bit. That was an entertaining game at least. But
so maybe you're making a mountain out of a molehill, but you kind of see a trend, and that's what kind of concerns me. When things stop going our way, how are they going to react? Are we going to have just a little blip, like the second half against LA this game, and we're back on our feet against Seattle on Wednesday and Colorado on Saturday? Or are we seeing a trend where RSL is going to struggle? So what about orange slices? We skipped right over orange slices.
Oh yeah. I'm as far as orange slices go, I'd like to shout out the orange slice stickers we have. If you do see us at the game, come hit us up. You earned this orange slice. That's all you have to do is ask for an orange slice. And the RSL Random Fan Podcast will hand out orange slices at any game you see us at. I'm usually wearing this yellow jersey that says RSL Random Fan Podcast on the back. But if not, hit us up anyway. So for me, I was really concerned in the first half, but I had to give it to McMath. He stood on his head. He saved our bacon so many times. The defense was leaking shots, and he was turning off the faucet.
Yeah. I think the 2 obvious ones, I'll give mine to the other obvious one is Chicho. I thought Chicho was stellar. He gets the 2 goals, and we're up. But Catranis was also pretty stellar. I like Crooks. He was all over.
But if offensively, Catranis was good. But defensively, he was worrying me a little bit, And then when Bodie went out, I was like, ah!
Yeah. So I think those are the 2 obvious ones. So up 2-0 and just kind of giggling. LA's going to try and do something in the second half. Should we get to the second half?
Yep.
And any changes? It doesn't look like there was any changes.
Nope. But LA kind of stepped in right away. It looked like they were coming after us. They were like, let's go get one right away. And they kind of stepped in on the front foot. I think like you said, they kind of got tired. Maybe they were running too much in that first half and kind of hoofed it out of the end of the half. But then they got a good break in there, rehydrated, got their orange
Smelling
slices in.
salts, the whole works. Yeah.
They're like ready to pass out. Oh, yep. And then they're
This
back up
field
in
is so
there.
big. They play
I
on
think
such
it
a big.
is,
Why is our?
right? Isn't that the biggest field in MLS? Is it still? I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of the larger ones. I love the fact that soccer is so crazy in that. There's not a
It
lot of
used to be. I
variation.
don't know if it still is.
There's not a lot of variation, but is some. LA plays in one of the bigger pitches, and you'll never convince me that New York City FC plays on a regulation pitch. They say it is, but I want to see their tape measure. But we did want
Yeah.
to. The LA did come in the second half, and they kind of started taking it to RSL. They put a lot of pressure on. RSL was defending pretty well, but then in the 54th minute, we kind of got in our own way, which seems to be a bit of a theme on the first goal for LA. They did have a nice attack down the left side. McMath got the goal, and then we're headed forward. The ball goes out to the right, and let's see. I think did they steal the ball?
Yeah, Catranas played it into Chicho, right?
Yeah, they crossed it from Glad into Chicho. Well, actually, into Chicho, and then Luna just comes out of nowhere and steals the ball, and then he should have. Why was he taking the ball? Chicho was going forward, Luna was going backwards, and played it right into the teeth of the LA Galaxy, and boom, they're attacking, get a ball out to the right side, to their left side.
Kids don't run towards the player that has the ball necessarily. If they need help, yes, you can run towards them. Chicho did not need help, and Luna ran right towards him and took the ball away from him. And then Chicho's defender poked it away from Luna, and they started the break. And it was like, Luna, I thought you learned that lesson last year against, what was it? Is that Kansas City that he did that against last year?
St. Louis, yeah.
Oh, man. Come on, Luna. Stealing it from Chicho. And then Catranas was on the wing. And both Chicho and Catranas did this. If you're seeing us on video, I'm putting both my hands out forward. Like, why didn't you kick it back to me? Or whatever, like it was very obvious that was a pain in the butt play to both of those guys. They were like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's not what you want. It wasn't an ideal start to the second half because the way RSL was playing at the end of the first half, if you can go 5-10 more minutes without giving LA any hope, then they're slowly going to end up like they did in the first half, resigned to the fact that it's not their night.
Just tired and slowing down, and maybe try to hit on a counter.
But as it turned out, after that, it seemed like it was tons of pressure from the Galaxy in the second half, and they just kept ratcheting it up.
Yeah, and I think you already said that McMath wants to see that one again, right, from Peck? I think you already said that.
Maybe to you, but when it was a nice shot, it was a stinger of a shot, and McMath got down, but it just kind of bounced under. And
yeah, he didn't quite get down all the way.
He didn't push it out. Was he trying to grab it? Maybe it had a lot of. It was a laser of a shot. Maybe it had a lot of knuckle on it and just got past him. But after that, it was tons and tons of pressure from LA Galaxy.
Yeah, that's, I mean, kind of too bad. They subbed off Djokovic kind of early. Djokovic.
In the 68th minute, looks like.
Yeah, they went to Denver and they got the Joker, and then they subbed him in. He was too tall and slow, and so then they subbed in Joker. Jeez.
I think maybe the play of the game for RSL, especially in the second half, excuse me, was it the 70th minute? Gomez ended up getting the ball down the right side and took it all the way to the baseline and had an opportunity to send the ball back through to the middle. I think Luna was crashing the middle. Oh, excuse me. And instead he took the shot on goal. The window was there for a very short time, and he was just late getting the ball, taking advantage of it, which seems to be a theme with RSL, especially with Crooks and these other players where they're just holding on the ball a little too much and not playing instinctively.
Chicho into space, right? Yeah, and then he could have played it early to Barajas, and it was almost like he didn't trust him because Barajas was at the penalty spot, and Catranas was past him, bringing up the backside, so he could have chipped it into the back post or, just lobbed it over there somewhere, anywhere. Catranas was still at the 18, and then he just decided to shoot, which McCarthy had the angle covered. So, dude.
Yeah, it was a very short window.
A lot better with that one, right?
Yeah, it was a very short window of opportunity there to send the ball back to for Barajas, and he missed it.
That was Gomez, not Julio.
Gomez. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so whoever was in the middle there. And then right after that, Crooks came out for Julio, which I thought was interesting. I really liked how Crooks was playing, but if you're not gonna play the ball to him, what's the point of having him in there?
Yeah,
and I think
you're not playing to strengths.
And I think with LA putting all the pressure on, having Anderson Julio there for a counter, to spread them out, keep them honest in the back, was probably the thought process. But also, kudos. I'll give kudos to Pablo Mastroeni, because he did make some subs and he did make some young player subs. He took out Catranas, who may have got a little bit of a knock in the 72nd minute, and he sent in the young kid Silva, who looks like a player, but he's still young.
Serviceable player, lefty.
And then Julio came in for Crooks, and Barajas came in for Luna, so he was sending in the kids. So you can't complain about not having depth and then don't play the players. So I'm not complaining about any of the subs. I was glad. I thought, all right, give the kids a shot. That's the only way they're going to get better. We've talked about it ad nauseum with Pablo the last couple of seasons. So, and Palacio came in the 84th minute for Arango. So you can't. You've got to give Chicho a break. And I think Pablo probably thought we're going to try and hold on for this lead. And if we end up giving up a goal, we give up a goal, but we're getting out of here with a point.
Well, I thought in the 71st minute we were going to give up that counter-attack goal where Brody just took a horrendous angle on Painsil. He just, I don't know what he was thinking. He was like, oh, I got him. He was cutting him off to the side. But he just let him basically, McCarthy threw it out there, and instead of taking a really defensive angle, he took an aggressive angle, and Painsil just ran right by him. And I was like, oh boy, Painsil's going to score. And then he just skied it. So that was kind of lucky for us. But
yeah, Painsil did not have a good night. He's been a great surprise addition to Major League Soccer this year with them. He started off really hot. But also I thought McMath stood him up pretty well. McMath didn't. He stood there, made himself big, and he made Painsil decide which way he wanted to go. And he tried to go high, and it went way over. So that 70th minute, I thought that was, if we had a better opportunity, we get that third goal, game's over, probably.
Yeah.
But that's not how it goes in soccer.
No. And Riqui is so good, dude. Ricky's good. You kind of have to stay off him because he's so quick with his first touch. But if you're too far off him, then he can pass the ball all over the place. So you kind of have to mix it up. And as a center back pairing, you have to kind of think of that. Okay, he's going, I'm dropping. You kind of have to give and go. It's like this tugging, right? It's this pull and push you got to play, right? One of you is going to go hard and one of you is going to back off. And then you switch it up because variation of service. You can't do the same thing over and over, and you kind of have to know what his default move is, right? Because if you get a striker who's really good at one thing and you can take that one thing away, and they got nothing else, I mean, that's the only reason I was a decent defender back when I played soccer. I could take away the one thing they were good at, right? Okay, you're fast. I'm gonna knee in the thigh and hope you're not so fast next time, right? Like I'm gonna knock you down and see if you can still run again next play. Like that kind of a thing. Like, do I have to get physical with this guy, or do I, And Riqui, he took it. He took it. We dished it out, and he took it, and he kept coming at us.
Absolutely. I love Riqui Puig. I can't say it enough. He might be the one player in Major League Soccer that isn't named Messi that first player I'd want to add to my team. I like him that much, especially for RSL. He would be amazing in the middle with Chicho Arango, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, that would be a killer pairing. I don't know if we could afford him, but I don't know.
No,
I'm not sure how much money we have, Ryan Smith. How much money do we have? Huh?
Well, let's see. He pulls out his change. I've only got $8 billion in change.
Yeah. I'm sure they're not looking to get rid of Riqui. He's just a difference maker. And even when Palacio was out there just trying to man mark him because he was fresh and Riqui had ran the whole game, Palacio, like, Puig started to run and Palacio backed off him and they give it back to him. And this is like the 93rd plus minute, which I don't know how there was 4 minutes of stoppage time. It didn't feel like there should have been 2, but whatever.
Well, you had 2 goals and you had a bunch of subs, so and then, 4 minutes seemed like it was short. But
okay, all right, if you say so.
You still have to play to the whistle.
That's why I listen to you, Brandon. I like getting your perspective. Your valuable insight, Brandon. I like that about you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we want to talk let's talk about the bad news. So, how would you describe that last play? Because it literally came down to the last play of the game.
Yeah, and Palacio was doing everything he could, but Riqui's just that good, man. And he kicks the ball forward, and Palacio's trying to cut down his angle, and you can tell he's going to catch back up to him because he's just fast enough. And right before he does, Riqui just plays this cross in, and he whips it in at such an angle that it's like giving his offensive guys a chance to run onto it. And the interesting thing about when the ball's played is Quentin's in front and McMath's in back. So they're coming at each other, right? They're running at each other. That's what you want to do. You want to make the defenders uncomfortably run at their own goal because nobody wants to try to clear that out. And it's awkward. It's so awkward. And so you can see Quentin's like, am I going to play this ball? And McMath is looking at it going, is Quentin going to play this ball? And neither one of them plays the ball. And Barry sneaks in between, and he beats them both to it and just knocks it in on a slide. And to be fair, it looks like it's all McMath's fault. And it is. But it's also Quentin's fault. And it's also Palacio's fault. Like, there's 3 different people that have some fault there. It's not all on McMath because what do you do when the ball goes into the box? You do one of 2 things as a center defender. You either push the guy that's running at the ball so he can't just run straight at it, or you go attack the ball and head it out. Well, Quentin looks back. He thinks McMath's got it because he's not watching the ball anymore. He's just looking at McMath. And that is the wrong approach. Quentin should have put a shoulder on Miguel, a tiny little bump. He was in front. He could have done it pretty easily, and that saves that ball, and McMath catches it easily, and we're out of there with 3 points. And I think that is what most people missed from that play.
Well, and McMath, the ball came in. It was a great pass into the middle. It was incredibly hopeful, right? He just sends it into a dangerous spot. McMath probably could have been a little bit more aggressive, but he didn't want to catch it on a short bounce, I think. And he wasn't feeling like
it would have been a dive forward and really awkward, and he could have spilt it.
Yeah, but before that, just the play before that, they kind of set up. They gave LA the ball, RSL was controlling the ball, and they sent the ball back to McMath. And usually earlier in the game, you got your center backs and your backs racing back to give your goalie, your keeper a passing option. That didn't happen. And you also had the residue memory of the almost goal that McMath gave up when the center backs kind of left him on an island back there, and he tried to do too much, and Puig almost stole. Well, actually, they stole the ball, and LA almost got that goal earlier. So I think there was a little bit of that because he sent the ball back to McMath, and he just hoofs it forward in the almost in the 90 start of the 93rd minute. I wonder if we're down to what ifs. If he has an option and RSL continues to play the ball out of the back, then that might have taken off another 30 seconds and maybe LA doesn't get to it. But in the end, LA kept up the pressure. They kept putting pressure on us. They kept up the fight, and they ended up with the sad, surprising goal. And we walk away.
Second goal, but you know what? It was expected goals were 3-1 for them. 3.2 expected goals on the night. So they created way better chances. They outplayed us definitely in the final third, but just not the final touch. And so our 1.2 expected goals turned into 2. And, we were good in the air. We won our aerial duels. We're definitely doing that well, but our passing accuracy was way off. We were down to 84%. Our total passes were 481. We didn't play all that well, and that worries me going forward that we think we can get away with that,
Yeah, I think with I'm kind of concerned. Sloppy play, build up of injuries, and maybe we'll see where their confidence level is after this, because this definitely, looking at the body language and the faces after the game, even there's a great shot of Pablo walking off the field, and he's just like gritting his teeth. Yeah. This game really felt like a loss. And going into it, you say, yeah, we'll take a draw. We haven't played well in LA for a long time. We'll take the point. But we'll see if there's a hangover.
Yeah, and you know what made me even happier? Yeah. What did you think of the way Rubiel Vasquez refereed this game? He called 13 fouls on us and only 7 on them. Do you think that he was a little lopsided? I didn't think so. I think we fouled them more than they fouled us. But a 2-1 disparity seemed a little lopsided for how the game went, in my opinion. Just a little too tight on our side.
Off the top of my head, thinking back, it doesn't feel like it to me, but maybe if you'd asked me after the game, might have been different. But I think that RSL plays a little bit more physical style. I mean, we do have Vera can't go a game without getting a yellow card, but Crooks. So I don't think it was.
Well, only think one
RSL's. I think RSL. This game's on RSL. They had the opportunity.
Oh yeah,
They played them. McMath played them into a 2-0 lead with Chicho Arango in the first half, and they tried to hold on, and it just didn't happen. But like I said, kudos to Pablo for subbing in some kids. They got some valuable experience, so hopefully the injury bug is short-lived, and we'll see what we do on Wednesday.
Well, and RSL are still right there. We're still, right there, top of the Eastern or Western Conference, 22 points, and Minnesota hasn't played as many games as us by 2, so they could easily catch us. LA, we stayed ahead of them. They're at 20 points. We're at 22. And our goal differential's 9, so suck it, rest of the league.
Yeah, we are creating.
But I just don't love the way we're playing right now.
Yeah, and we've scored a lot of goals. We've scored 20 goals. Only there's only a few teams that have scored more. Obviously, Miami has scored 35 goals. No one's even close to them.
Jeez.
But there's some with 21. There's some with 20. LA has 23. So we're right there. LAFC with 22.
Yeah.
I mean, we're holding our own,
Towards
but
the
it's
top.
all
Yeah.
Chicho. It's all Chicho. So
Yeah.
let's see if we can bring some more players into. He has, what does he have? 11 goals. So 9 other players have scored. 9 other goals have been scored by other players than Chicho. But he's contributed to 18 of the 20.
So,
Right.
and bring Seattle midweek game coming up, home game, Seattle. Something's got to give because they're 2-4-1 on the road, and we are 3-1-1 at home this year.
And they
So
have to be. They're they're going to be brimming with confidence because they went into Portland and got a win in Portland on Sunday 2-1. In other games, LAFC beat
got the Mother's
Vancouver
Day
3-0.
win, huh?
Yeah, Mother's Day, and there were tears aplenty.
So I do have a
see
question. Are we gonna wear the coolest kit that I've maybe ever seen with the Bruce Lee, or that looks like an RSL uniform, or are they gonna wear one of the ugliest kits I've ever seen on Seattle with blue on green stripes? I don't know. It looks so bad, so bad. Can't wait to see it up close. I might actually vomit on it. It's almost as bad as the couch cushions.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I like the blue ones, but
The
I
blue on
like.
green.
I like it. It's all right.
So
But
bad.
let me get back to the scores from
And
around
then,
the league. Go ahead.
then we have Colorado on the weekend. So
Yeah.
don't forget, the scheduling gods were kind of mean to us unless you were in town to see RSL games this week. Then you can catch two. We have two home games, the 15th and the 18th, both at 7:30, both at America First Field. And then we don't have a home game for a long time after that. So come out, support our team, get there early, sing, chant, yell, scream. Just do it in a really good way, right?
Yeah, be ready to go. So also LAFC beat Vancouver 3-0. Damir Kreilach didn't make the bench. Colorado was up 2-0, I think, on San Jose and lost 3-2. St. Louis 3-1 on Chicago, the dumpster fire that is Chicago. Houston beat Kansas City. You got to love that. Dallas beat Austin in that Texas Derby. Cincinnati beat Columbus. That was quite the game. NYCFC 3-2 over Toronto. Is that the one where's Sean Johnson? Is that the one where they had the handbags and the fisticuffs after that? I'm waiting to see.
Oh, I didn't see that. I do want to see the one.
That might have been the Red Bull game.
Sean
Philadelphia.
Johnson, he's in Toronto.
Yeah, maybe it was one, but there was quite
there
the kerfuffle.
Red cards and everything?
I didn't see after the game, but there was quite the. Like I said, there might have been something really awful said because I think it was Sean Johnson he was going after somebody. Philadelphia lost again at home. They haven't lost 3 games at home since like 2012. Lost to Orlando. It might have been the Red Bull New England game. I mean, I'll have to apologize for being old and forgetting. Red Bull beat New England 4-2. Miami, they were down 2-0 to Montreal, came storming back to get 3-2 victory. Charlotte beat Nashville 1-0 in it. DC United put Pineda on the incredibly hot seat, head coach for Atlanta United. That's got to be burning hot in Atlanta there.
Yep. Struggling. Yeah, in fact, Brooks Lennon just missed a clearance that ended up being a tap-in goal. So
Oh no,
not playing. Speaking of not playing great, Man United's not playing great.
Yeah, they play in the world's worst stadium. Did you see that?
Is that what they said? World's worst stadium.
It has its own waterfall now that was raining, and there's water falling in on the stands. The water was leaking into the away locker room through the ceiling.
No.
Yeah, the Glazers.
Were the raccoons falling through?
Yeah, they were. They were British raccoons, so they were very polite.
Oh, okay.
They cleaned up after themselves, of course. You know.
What the hell? tea. Hello.
They're there to mop it up. So yeah, it was just atrocious there. There was lots of precipitation, obviously, but the water was just rolling down the stands, falling on the stands, onto the fans. It was pretty terrible. So, but
And
anyway,
then Arsenal went in and beat them 1-0. But who cares about the stupid Premier League, Brandt? Let's have the come on Crawley update.
let's do that. So I don't know that I have been any happier when it comes to supporting a team that isn't Real Salt Lake. I love Real Salt Lake, but I also love Crawley because I only have two teams, right? I don't have a baseball team I follow religiously. I grew up a Dodger fan. I don't live and die with the Dodgers. I don't have an NFL team I live and die with. I don't have a college football team. I don't have a college team I live and die with. There are only two teams in the entire world that I live and die with, and that is Real Salt Lake and Crawley Town. So I feel like I just want to put that disclaimer out there because I know I talk a lot of Crawley, but I don't have any other place to put my fandom. Those are the two places I put it.
And you're very authentic with that too. I mean, I talk to you all the time, and we always talk about Crawley. So carry on, my friend. Tell us what happened. May 7th, Tuesday, May 7th. It was right after we did the podcast. They got rained out, so they
on
played
Monday.
The next day.
So Crawley Town was playing the fourth place team, MK Dons, at Crawley Town at the Broadfield Stadium, and no one was predicting. Most people predicted Crawley Town to get relegated. I mean, we talked about it last season. They were absolutely atrocious. And this season they have just been. It's just been a magical season. So Crawley Town, MK Dons come in, and they just put a beating on them. They go up. They win 3-0. Although MK Dons had their chances, like in the third minute, they had a ball get the player at Max Dean get one-on-one with the keeper. He got around Corey Adai, but he didn't get the shot off quick enough, and Will Wright was hustling back and
as he does. That's what he does.
Cleared the ball off the line. And goals change games. Ask Dunny.
Right.
And Crawley Town weathered the storm real quick, and boom, a few minutes later they're up 1-0. They're up 2-0 on a last-second goal, a shot free kick in the first half, and then they get the third in the second half. Then you're like, oh man, this might be over.
0? That's, I mean, it's a two home and away, right?
Yeah. Home and away. And it's like, first half, second half, like they used to do in the MLS playoffs.
Right.
Crawley goes in. They're up 3-0, but stranger things have happened. Last year in League One, I think it's Peterborough was up 4-0 on Sheffield Wednesday. And Sheffield Wednesday in the second leg, I think at Peterborough, picked up 4 goals and pushed them to penalty kicks, and they got promoted and Peterborough lost. So the second game, everybody was always nervous, right? You never know how your team's going to play.
And it was
in the other playoff,
right?
The other playoff game, Doncaster versus Crewe, Doncaster went to Crewe, Alexandra, and won the game 2-0. So they go back home. This game was on Friday. The second game was on Friday. So they go home to play Crewe, Alexandra in the second leg. First 17 minutes, Crewe's got two goals on them, and it's 2-2 in aggregate. They go all the way through extra time to get to penalty kicks, and Crewe advances on penalty kicks. So you never know. So you had that game before, so everybody's going, can Crawley keep the lead, or will MK Dons jump on them early? And they get an early goal, then all of a sudden, it's everybody's kind of getting nervous.
Things could change.
But as it turned out, Crawley jumped on them. Jay Williams got a turnover in the third minute, and they're up 1-0. And people are like, holy cow. And then a couple minutes later, it's, I think Danilo Orsi He gets a goal, and we are up 2-0 in the 30th minute, and we're up, what is that, 5-0 in aggregate. And you're thinking, okay, this is over. But then Max Dean, who is a petulant little child, did you see the stomp? So
No.
So in the 30-something minute, Jay Williams makes a sliding tackle or something, and Max Dean hops over him. Right as the ref turns his back, Jay Williams sticks a foot in there and stomps him in the midsection.
Oh.
And if there was VAR, which there will be in the final, he's off. It's a red card. So they end up scoring. So it's 5-1 on aggregate going into halftime. And you're thinking, oh, can they put some pressure on? But as it turned out, Crawley just kept on scoring. We ended up winning the game 5-1, and it wasn't even that close. Crawley just stomped them into the dirt. It was the 8-1 final between the two games, the largest victory in playoff history in the EFL across all the leagues.
So Crawley set two records, right? So this one, 8-1, the largest playoff win ever, and they are one of two teams who have never played at Wembley, and so now they're going to break that record too.
Yeah, the first time there was a lot of people that have been fans of Crawley for 60 plus years that are going to be excited. So Sunday morning, May 19th, 6 a.m. our time, I will be watching the game. You going to join us? Invited some friends and family over, make some pancakes.
Yeah, have everybody come on over. If you listen to this podcast, you're welcome to come to Brandt's house. Where it is. If you know where it is. You don't know where it is. You're not. I don't know. I don't want to invite anyone that doesn't know where your house is, Brandt. Yeah. But if you know where Brandt's house is, come watch. Or where else do they broadcast in the game?
ESPN Plus.
So hit Brandt up on Twitter at 6 a.m. He'll be up, tweeting it up from the account.
So ESPN Plus has the final. They also have the two playoff games if you want to go back and watch. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to watch it, but Brendan texted me the first thing. We watching the game on Sunday? So I said, absolutely. But he said he watched the second game, and he's like, those guys are good. So we'll see if they wasted all the good vibes in the playoff, or should be a classic on Sunday. So I'm very excited. I did buy a ticket. We looked at flights, and just for fun. Can't go. We got other obligations, like a job and stuff.
Boo.
But in a sign of solidarity, I did buy a ticket to Wembley.
That's pretty awesome.
So I should get my collector's ticket in the mail at some point after the game. So very exciting. And we should do a podcast and talk about the joy that is promotion and relegation and where we are. Would love to see that come here in the United States, but I think we are way, way too early. The infrastructure just isn't there.
No. If it dropped that far to New Mexico United having to play on a baseball stadium where the turf's trash, no, there's no way we're even two divisions deep. They can't even have a regulation-sized pitch. So I get why U.S. soccer was being weird about the Open Cup and MLS didn't want to go play there. I get that, but we're way too far away. Agreed.
Well, you got to think about it. England is about 20% larger than Utah in square miles. I mean, it's larger than Utah, not by much. About 20% when the last time I've looked. Crawley Town's longest away day, or actually anybody in England, their longest away day is closer than RSL's closest competitor. So it's a 7-8 hour drive to our next closest opponent in Colorado. That is the farthest away day for any team in England. So that's what I mean when we talk about infrastructure. You're going to have a league. There has to be an entire conversation about how you break it up. You can't have smaller Division II, Division III teams in the United States traversing across the United States all the time, back and forth. They
Yeah.
kind of do it
It won't
now.
work.
So yeah, there's a
Right?
little
Like
ways to go.
imagine Fort Lauderdale trying to play Omaha. You know what I mean? Like they're playing in college football stadiums, and you know what I mean. It's not gonna work. Not gonna work.
Not
Anyway,
yet. I think it will. I think it's inevitable. But you can't start talking about promotion and relegation at any level, even at the USL level, and
no.
say you've got, I think to invest into the USL is still $20-30 million for a team compared to 300-400-500 million for an MLS side. And you start telling owners like, oh yeah, come and join our league and you might get a stay in it. That's a great way to stifle
Right.
any kind of expansion and investment into the league. I think we're a couple decades
Exactly.
away. So, but we'll see how it goes. It's fun to talk about.
Agreed.
I mean, ad nauseum, the way people do it gets kind of annoying. So,
well, switching gears
else?
to
Yes.
a championship that actually is going to be played. My Real Madrid, Hala Madrid, are in the final again. I know. They're the one like super. I know they're like the Yankees. I get it. It's the one team I cheer for that's favored to win every year. Okay, get over it.
Is this UEFA?
Yeah,
the
UEFA Champions League, June 1st, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, streaming on all of your CBS favorites. And then also
Who are they playing? I haven't followed.
Champions League. Oh, Dortmund. Dortmund beat PSG, and Real Madrid beat Bayern. Real Madrid left it for late. Bayern scored, and it was that was a cool goal. Did you see that one?
No, I haven't followed it this year.
It's Alphonso Davies, former MLS player, comes
Canadian?
in and just scores a cracker. The Canadian with his right foot too, and he's left-footed. Just an amazing goal, and then Madrid came back and scored twice. They thought the second goal was offside, but it wasn't, and Madrid are through to the finals again. I know it's annoying, but hey, you know what? Hala Madrid. So, and then in the other Champions League, the CONCACAF Champions League, we also thought that Columbus would not make the final. And there they were, taking it to Monterrey, and their final is the same day, June 1st, Pachuca, 7:15 p.m. Mountain Time. So you can watch all these on the same day. And it is at Estadio Hidalgo in Pachuca, Mexico. So
isn't
that will
like
be a very hostile
47,000 feet above sea level
and 30,000 seat stadium.
Should be good. I think with Columbus should be able to do it. They took out Monterrey, who's probably the best team in North America.
Yeah. I was so excited for that. But we thought there was a slight outside chance an MLS team would make the final even at one point. And, they did it. Good job. Way to go.
I will actually be rooting for them. I wasn't rooting for Seattle because Seattle can. No, for Columbus. I'll be rooting for Columbus.
Okay, good.
I wanted RSL to be the first team, but since we can't find a way to get back to the CCC now they call it, then
I know we're always one game away. Right?
So I will be cheering for. I will definitely be cheering for Columbus. I think they can do it.
Yeah, but anyway, hope so. There you go. Lots of finals, lots of promotion and relegation, lots of champions being crowned here in the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for all that.
Yeah, and watch the game on ESPN Plus Saturday morning. Also, support your fellow RSL fan, Brandt and Tyler. Go get your Ghost Pickleball paddles and balls and accessories from the man, the myth, the legend, Brandt and Tyler and his Ghost Pickleball. Also, wherever you get your podcasts, follow us. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Goals TV, and follow us, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your stuff, wherever you see us, we'd appreciate it. You can also rate us. And since Brendan's not here, I'll say go to Reddit and Tell us what you think or don't, what you like or don't like for Brennan. Do it for Brennan. And with that, I'll say see you later.
Ciao, Pesco.